Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Real Talk Bougie. I'm back with a live update. I just saw that they put in a verdict for Michael Jackson Balanos. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but we're gonna talk about it real quick, okay? I hope everyone's having an awesome day. Let's get into it. Hey guys, let's get into it real quick. Let me put my headphones in. Hi, everybody. Long time no see. How's it going? Okay, guys. Welcome back to Real Talk Bougie. I'm your hostess with the mostest. What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing? Okay, look, this is some interesting news. So, Michael Jackson Balanos, we know, we watched a little bit of the proceedings. We watched it from the perspective of what the fuck? About a week or so ago, when the boyfriend Jeffrey was interrogated on both sides. Um, More so, we watched the defense question the ex-boyfriend of Miss Samantha, who was taken out far too soon and in a brutal and heinous way. Ma'am lost her life in Detroit. She was a leader of a synagogue, and something horrible happened to her. And Michael Jackson Balanos was in the vicinity on the same night that Samantha Wall was murdered, and he was robbing cars and doing some petty thievery, but he maintains his innocence that he was not the person who killed this woman. Anyway, long story short, he was accused or has been accused. He's been on trial for over a month now. And we did watch some of the proceedings last week. So here we are. Let's listen. It's interesting. And honestly, I almost feel like his lawyer is not going to be mad because I feel like they are well positioned to have him cleared of some things. Now, this is the deal. He had 4 counts, okay? He had 4 different charges, and they came back with verdicts on 2 and hung jury on 2, okay? So if you hadn't heard this, let's give a listen and then we'll talk about it, okay?
On behalf of the people.
And Brian Brown on behalf of Mr. Jackson Balanos.
Renaud Christian-Murphy on behalf of Mr. Jackson Balanos, who's present to my right.
And I know for the record, Mr. Jackson Balanos is present, as are all counsel, and our 12 jurors have returned to the courtroom again this morning. We took yesterday off because there were some conflicts. He came back this morning and been diligently working. We produced yet another transcript for you and just after lunch, and we received a note a little while ago indicating that you are still deadlocked as to 2 of the counts. You've reached a verdict as to 2 of the counts, and you are not making any more progress. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Who is your foreperson? You are actually juror number 15? Okay. Juror number 15, we will take a partial verdict as to the 2 counts that you have reached a verdict on, and if you haven't reached a verdict, just say deadlocked, okay? And if you have reached a verdict, read what's next to the box you check marked under that count. Okay, so the clerk is going to take the verdict from you. Please stand. And after she reads the count and the charge, you read what's next to it, or deadlock if you're deadlocked. Thank you.
In the case of the people of the state of Michigan versus Michael Manuel Jackson Balanos, Mr. Foreperson, will you please read the verdict form as marked as to count 1, first-degree felony murder?
Deadlock.
As to count 2, first-degree premeditated murder?
Not guilty.
As to count 3, home invasion first degree?
Deadlock.
And as to count 4, concealing facts or misleading the police?
Guilty.
All jurors, please stand and raise your right hands.
Okay, 1 second. Let's dial that back real quick because that went really fast.
Deadlock.
1, first-degree felony murder.
Deadlock.
First-degree felony murder, deadlocked.
As to count 2, first-degree premeditated murder?
Not guilty.
First-degree premeditated murder. I mean, how could he premeditate something if they've never met? They don't know each other. He wasn't scoping out her place. There's no evidence of that. So first degree premeditated murder, not guilty. So I think that's big. Next,
As to count 3, home invasion first degree.
Deadlock.
home invasion first degree. There was not a lot of evidence, forensic evidence, to show that he was even in her residence. Deadlock. So that's big.
And as to count 4, concealing facts or misleading the police.
Guilty.
So concealing facts, misleading police. He did lie. He lied initially, then he told the truth. So he wasn't forthcoming initially. They found him guilty on that. Okay. So not guilty on premeditated murder. That's big. And guilty on concealing facts. Okay, that's what he's guilty of, that he was lying because, for whatever reason he justifies. So first degree, let's go back again. So first degree murder, deadlocked. And let's see, first degree murder, deadlocked. Premeditated murder, not guilty. And then there was
Jackson
the third.
Balanos. Mr. Foreperson, will you please read the verdict form as marked as to count 1, first degree felony murder?
Deadlock.
As to count 2, first degree premeditated murder?
Not guilty.
As to count 3, home invasion first degree?
Okay, so the first degree murder, deadlocked. Home invasion, deadlocked. Premeditated murder, not guilty. And lying, withholding evidence, guilty. Okay. If I were his lawyer, all they have to do, sir, Mr. Brown did an excellent job of Jeffrey probably needs to get with his counselor. Jeffrey will be back. Okay. Jeffrey will be back, the boyfriend, and they're going to dig just a little bit deeper. But the next jury may feel like, you know what? Okay, murder. So look at it this way. He's been convicted now of lying and withholding information, right? Not guilty on premeditated. Okay. So it's going to be first degree murder. It's going to be whittled down. First degree murder and home invasion. We already know that forensically there was not a lot of evidence tying him to even being in her home. And somehow he's got her blood on his jacket and his bag, but there was nothing else. So there was not a lot of evidence tying him to her, but there was blood on his bag and his jacket. As far as the tie-in and knowing that he was at her place, which he did he came across her body. It's going to be interesting if the state is going to be able to really tie him into being there, physically having contact with her, entering her home. Where are the ring? Did she not have a ring camera at her house that would have showed him going into the home, or security cameras? Maybe there's something, who knows? But if they were deadlocked on those two to begin with, then there's some sort of reasonable doubt. And all his lawyer is going to have to do, I mean, I think that the plan to really get into the boyfriend again and really dismantle his story, and also get into what the state has to say to tie him to being there, is what I'm assuming the plan of action might be moving further. I don't know, but let's go ahead and listen. This is very interesting. The state needs to drop Michael and put Jeffrey. Well, keep in mind that Jeffrey got use immunity, so anything that he testified can't be used against him. Hi, Snoopalicious. How are you? He got use immunity, so anything that was said on that day cannot be used against him. So they would just have to come. If they really I don't know. We'll have to see. Let's go ahead and run this back and listen all the way through. But I just wanted to take a pit stop on the charges because, again, murder in the first degree, deadlocked. Premeditated murder. I don't even know why they would have charged him with that. Because how could it be premeditated? He would have had to sit and like, I'm going to take someone out tonight. You know what I mean? Not guilty. Home invasion, deadlocked, and false information to the police and withholding information, guilty, right? So 2 counts are gone, right? 2 are remaining. So let's go ahead, run this back, and then we'll talk about it at the end, okay?
Balanos is present, as are all counsel, and our 12 jurors have returned to the courtroom again this morning. We took yesterday.
So they gave Jeffrey use immunity. So they didn't give him complete immunity. They gave him immunity based on what he testified on the day that he testified. Like they gave him use immunity. So whatever he testified to on the stand cannot be used against him future tense.
Yesterday off because there were some conflicts. So you came back this morning and been diligently working. We produced yet another transcript for you and just after lunch, and we received a note a little while ago indicating that you are still deadlocked as to 2 accounts. You've reached a verdict as to 2 accounts, and you are not making any more progress. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Who is your foreperson? You are actually juror number 15? Okay. Juror number 15, we will take a partial verdict as to the 2 counts that you have reached a verdict on, and if you haven't reached a verdict, just say deadlocked, okay? And if you have reached a verdict, read what's next to the box you check marked under that count, okay? So the clerk is going to take the verdict from you to stand, and after she reads the count and the charge, you read what's next to it, or deadlock if you're deadlocked. Thank you.
In the case, the people of the state of Michigan versus Michael Manuel Jackson Balanos, Mr. Foreperson, will you please read the verdict form as marked as to count 1, first-degree felony murder?
Deadlock.
As to count 2, first-degree premeditated murder?
Not guilty.
As to count 3, home invasion first degree?
Deadlock.
And as to count 4, concealing facts or misleading the police?
Guilty.
All jurors, please stand and raise your right hands.
Members of the jury, listen to your verdict as recorded by the court. You do say upon your oath that you find Michael Manuel Jackson Balanos hung as to count 1, first-degree felony murder, not guilty as to count 2, first-degree premeditated murder, hung as to count 3, home invasion first degree, and guilty of count 4, concealing facts or misleading the police. So say you, Mr. Foreperson, so say you, members of the jury.
Thank you. You may be seated. Would you like the members of the jury polled?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I know this went much longer than we ever thought it would, and you did yeoman's work in this case, and we appreciate your attempts to come back day after day and try to reach a verdict, because after such a long trial, we wanted to give every opportunity to try to reach a full verdict as to all counts, and I understand it's just not possible. So I am going to come back and speak with you personally and give you some certificates from the court, and then I believe the attorneys are going to want a chance to talk to you as well, and you'll be able to talk to them. The restriction of not talking to attorneys is now lifted for you in this case. I guess I'd prefer you not give interviews to the press, because we're going to have to possibly retry the case as to counts 1 and 3. So, anyway, but you are free to do what you want. And so at this time, you are dismissed from your duties as jurors in this case. And we appreciate your time, attention, and efforts in this case. So the deputies are going to lead you back over to Judge Knapp's courtroom, and I'll be over there momentarily to come address you. And the attorneys will come after I have a chance to talk to you about it. Okay? All rise for the jury.
So someone said, okay, so about Karen Reed, they did point that out that that was really like a misstep of the judge potentially, um, to have not number one polled the jury, to not have entered in the partial pleas because that's possible. Um, I don't know why she didn't. You know what I mean? And it's not a foregone conclusion that they can't. I think they're probably trying to figure everything out. I have not been active on listening to anything about Karen Reed this week. I don't know if anything's been going on. I know they have time, I think, scheduled this week coming up where they're going to come back and talk about what they're going to do moving forward. Um, Interesting. They did ask, would you like to poll a jury? And both sides said no. The defense and the prosecution both said no. And I think just from a strategy standpoint, deadlocked. Um, we don't know what the deadlock was. So they did not ask to be have the jury polled. I'm sure that's a strategy. Maybe they don't want to know and it's not relevant to them. Um, yeah, so interesting. I don't know. But yeah, as regarding Karen Reed, yeah, this is a situation where they could have and based on Karen Reed, to your point, had they put in the partial verdict in Karen Reed, those were some of the more serious offenses. She would have been acquitted by now. So very interesting. There's a couple more minutes, so let's hear what else the judge has to say, and we'll wrap this up. This is gonna be a fast one, guys.
Kim, can you grab that? You may be seated. So at this time, the jury was unable to reach a verdict as to counts 1 and 3. People will have to make a decision as to whether they're going to retry those counts. And we're going to set a pretrial for let me see when, next week?
Yes.
2 weeks, how much time?
Sooner the better.
Next week?
Yeah.
Put my calendar for next week.
And Judge, I'd ask for at least a week because
So
25th.
Thursday, the 25th at noon?
Yeah.
Does that work?
that's fine.
Okay. So Thursday, the 25th at noon, we'll have a pretrial. If there are any motions you plan to make, please file that as soon as possible, the written motions. We will address everything then and set a new trial date if it's going to be retried.
And Judge, I may have missed this, but is the court going to formally enter an order declaring a mistrial on those?
Yes,
And those
I am
counts.
declaring mistrial as to counts 1 and 3, and I have the order in front of you.
Thank you, Judge.
He's been acquitted. I'll enter an order of acquittal on count 2 only. I'm gonna hold off on referring for a PSI until next week and on the other one. And I may just hold off on referring to PSI until the other council will figure that out next week, okay? That concludes this hearing.
Why did they say all rise? Oh, I like your fingernails. Do you see her fingernails are blue? I like your fingernails. Okay. Look, I'm not mad at that verdict. I think it's look, if you think that Michael Jackson Balanos is getting a bad deal, that he is not, he's maintaining his innocence and you're with that, I think that this was a good day because, of course, it would have been good for him to have been acquitted completely, but there's still some doubt there that he's completely innocent, and it's going to really be up to his defense attorney to really drive home his what's PSI, maybe pre-sentencing or something. Let's see. I think it's going to be up to the state to really bring the case, and it's going to be up for his defense to continue to chip away at reasonable doubt. You know what I mean? It's almost like they have to bring the accusations and the receipts, and then the defense has to question every single thing that they provide. So, and they did it, we watched some of the trial, and I feel like his attorney did a really good job at that. So they just have to keep pushing, through. But I think the premeditated, I don't even know why he would have been charged with that to begin with. There's no we don't know his mindset that day, like that he walked out the house and said, I'm gonna kill somebody today. You know what I mean? And we also don't we know that he is more than likely not an acquaintance of hers. So why they would have put premeditated murder on him that's weird. But the first degree murder, okay, and home invasion, there's not enough to support that. If they felt that he'd been in her home, I think if you could really place him in the home, then maybe there would have been room or reason to give him that murder charge, but they can't even place him in the home. If you can't place him in the home, can you place him doing the murder, right? How could you find him guilty of count 1 if you don't find him guilty of count 3? And if it's not home invasion, then there would have to be something that he saw her outside. But either way, the way it's charged. Okay. Now lying, he did admit to lying. He admitted to lying and withholding information. So yeah. Or maybe even if it's not overcharged, maybe they charged him incorrectly. I don't know. Not our problem to solve though, right? They're going to have some thinking. They're probably meeting right now trying to figure out the strategy to move forward. Because I'm sure the Wall family is very unhappy if you have the ex-boyfriend who sat up there and confessed and allowed him to skate, then you gave him immunity to sit on the witness stand, and he came off extra cuckoo. And then you've got the man who was in the neighborhood who, for all intents and purposes, you could throw a bunch of stuff at him because he hasn't been a good dude. But is he the one who committed the offense against your daughter, your sister, your auntie, your child, whatever the case might be? You know what I mean? Just because he was been a bad guy doesn't mean he was the guy that took Samantha Wall out. So I think that's what the jury is deadlocked on. They just don't know. Right. Anyway, interesting. So tell me what you guys think down below. I was going to just record this as a video, but I said, let me just go ahead and come through and stop by. I'll be back again later. We'll get back into some more text messages from Sonia and Nesto. And what else did you guys ask me about? We need to get caught up on the young man, DeAndre, who passed away in Birmingham. There's a couple of cases that are going on right now that we talked about last week, just to get a update or whatever. So we'll make sure to do that tomorrow. If we don't get it done today, we'll get it done, and any other interesting cases that are going on. So you guys take care, hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you next time I go live or post another video. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Take care, guys.